Hello and welcome to my self-talks. Today I will be speaking to you about shamanic healing, and about two main things you do when healing shamanically, or shamanic way. And first thing is extraction, and second thing is soul retrieval. When fixing the energetical problem or the problem from the spiritual realm, we usually can use all sort of methods to do that. But generally, when we are not in our alignment, then there can be two things wrong. One thing is that we have something that is not ours and it is in our body, and that's what we call intrusion. So something, even physically, but in the shamanic way, it's also like energetical. You have something in your body that is not yours, that shouldn't be there, and that is causing some problem. So that's why we use extraction. And you can imagine it as surgical procedure, let's say. So when something is there and it shouldn't be, you need to remove it, and remove it mechanically, not just like with the power of your mind, power of your prayers, but you need to mechanically remove it. That's why shamans use all sort of tools like rattles or their drum, and every shaman has a different guidance and also different tools how to make this extraction. So you will probably, it will differ from shaman to shaman how they do the extraction, but what is important that they know how to do it. And while dealing with some intrusions, you need to also have your protection well set, and by that I mean energetical protection, of course. And also you need a place where you put these intrusions. So all this stuff a shaman has to have solved when offering extraction. And that is usually the first thing you do when a client comes to you with any sort of problem. You can be almost sure that you will have to make extraction of any sort. And you can make extraction even in your ancestral lineage when there's some problem. Actually, you can even remove curses by extraction. So, very simply said, you need to have an exact technique how you remove intrusions in your body and in your overall energetical system. And that is what we call in shamanism extraction. So this is a first thing when you have inside of you something that is not yours and it needs to be removed. So that place was filled with your own energy of your guides, that is also your energy, and that's why you will step into your own power, because these intrusions will be away and you will fill this place, this empty space, with your own power and with the light of your guidance. And second thing, first thing extraction, and second thing is soul retrieval. And that's already something you really don't do with people on a first session, because you need to understand something about a shamanistic perception of a soul. Usually we think that a soul is like a body, it's consistent and it can't like go away because you would die. Of course, if soul would go away completely, you would die, because the body needs a driver, which is the soul. But soul, in the shamanistic perception, is actually more like grapes. So you've got the whole grapes, and there are small balls that are making the whole grape. So this whole is your soul, and if you lose one part of the grape, you don't maybe even feel it. If you lose half of it, you will feel something is missing. And if you lose almost everything, you have probably a lot of problems, and if you lose everything, you die. It's as simple as this, technically. And now I will explain to you why a soul runs away from you. Because it's your own soul. Why doesn't it stay in your body? And why isn't it helping? So, you usually are like this. Most of these parts are chased away, not maybe because of your behavior, but because of behavior of your environment. So a lot of parts are being chased away when you're a child and you witness some sort of situation you don't want to be in, that traumatizes you. So a trauma. And for a child, trauma can be, for somebody, it can be witnessing a murder. That's really traumatic. And for somebody, it can be when somebody just yells at the child. And you can't really know how the child is sensitive. So if you have a sensitive child, that it's very probable that the soul is not so consistent, let's say, and it can flee. And it's not such a problem, the soul retrieval, but what is needed, one condition has to be made, and that's that the circumstances why the soul went away from you is not happening anymore. So for example, if this part of your soul went away from you because somebody was constantly yelling at you when you were a child, if you repeat the same thing in your adult life and you are, for example, in a relationship or environment when people are constantly yelling at you, this part of your soul will not be convinced to come to you because you are still in the same environment. So if you want to make the soul retrieval and really make a relationship with this part of your soul to be more whole you, then it is needed to change what that soul didn't like. That means you will probably leave the relationship where the people are yelling at you, and that's where you can call back your soul. Or if it ran away because you didn't listen to what it wanted to do and you still don't do it, then don't expect that this part of your soul will come back to you. It will come back only if it sees that you are changing. It's actually the same as with any sort of relationship, because the relationship, as you see it, begins inside of you. That's also explanation of my future videos when I spoken about parts of ourselves, and that we have a lot of parts of ourselves. That's this soul, those grapes, and one single grape has very different tastes and wishes than other grape. So you need to pay attention to the whole soul and to all of these grapes in you. So that's why we first usually do extraction, because if your soul goes away, it sometimes or very usually is replaced by some intrusion, because energetically it is not possible to have an empty space inside of you. So something else will fill the space where your soul, where the small grape was before. It may be habit that is not yours, but that is your parents' habit. For example, it can be a program, but it will fill these empty spaces where your soul is not. So if you want to be more you and live more your life as a whole person, then it is needed to extract all these things you don't need and then call back all these things you need. A shaman practitioner can do both for you, extraction and soul retrieval. And as I said, there's a whole technique how to do it. So if you, for example, know somebody that advertises it but doesn't know the exact technique, then maybe I would just examine that. But I'm not referring to anybody like specifically, just saying that there's more than just like notion that it is possible. Like there's exact thing that you will do and proceed according to your own guidance. And in all these things, the protection is really needed, and also certain inner, not just like attitude, but preparedness, energetical preparedness of the person that is doing that. But you know, you energetically feel if that person vibrates with you or not. That's the intuition. So everybody has his and her own inner authority. You can, if you're really interested about inner authority, about how do I know what I want, what's good for me, then you decide according to your inner authority. And if you don't know what's your inner authority, then check human design. Human design is a perfect tool to tell you what sort of gifts you have and what sort of tools you have for your disposal. And there is also described what sort of inner authority you should follow in order to not to condition yourself. So if you want to make the decisions you really want to make that are really good for you, and you're not aware of how you should decide, then follow this inner authority. And each of us has it very different. There are many types of inner authorities, so check that out and probably go to somebody that is a human design facilitator, so he can explain to you what do you have inside of you. So that's it for today. I just wanted to briefly talk about what's happening when we are sick, when we need healing. Healing is going back to the alignment of our original alignment and our wholeness. That means if there's something more that it needs extraction. If there's something missing because your soul went away, then you need to retrieve it back to you. And that's it. That's how you heal. You put away things that aren't yours and you call back things that are yours. That's as simple as this. This is the principle of healing, of ever healing. And then practically there are many details in it, but if you don't want to be a healer, you don't probably need not to know all the technique, as if you don't want to be a doctor and heal yourself, you know, you don't have to know how the surgical procedure goes. Even if you're interested, you can ask somebody that does it. And if you are in need of any sort of healing, then just write to me. I'm now working on my shop on my Facebook page, so check Little Urban Shaman for that, because I decided to make less videos now, less educational videos, and more practical healing, let's say, and also explain little by little what's behind this process of healing, how does it look like, and so that it would be more familiar to you, because it's not that common that you see a shaman practitioner and it may be like very mystical thing, but it's not that mystical. It's got its rules and its technique, and you just need to know what you're doing, and that's it. If you have your guidance, then you know what you're doing, and so that's it. That's what I wanted to explain, the principle of healing. And every single problem is being solved by this, and then it continues to energetical work that you usually work with light, with different colors, and you actually like transfigure the person's energetical body. You work with lines and with like coding, energetical coding. That's all. That's all. You just need to have like the technology, energetic technology in yourself, and that's also why shaman practitioners are genuinely working on themselves, because they need to get the energy and all these codes to use it, and you can then really feel it, like that you need what that person offers, or that you don't need that. And there are so many people that are doing that, and I would really like to make all these practices closer to the public, so that it wouldn't be so mystical. And it's actually very beautiful, because shamanism is all about connection to yourself and to other people. Perceive them as actually part of yourself, that you are being one with all the circumstances and all the people around you. And that's the main perception. You are being one in spirit with all the nature, and that's where you learn. You learn from basic actions and things that are happening around, and that is the nature of shamanism. So, if you're more interested about these topics, just drop me comments, and I hope I've explained it well, and have a really nice day. Hope we will see you soon. Bye.